Well, it could possibly be the last day in shorts, and I've said that for a few days now, but we're getting towards the end of October, and I kind of start getting a little melancholy, a little reflective, and maybe a little sentimental about the previous year, or I should say this past year. Seasons are going to significantly change here in the next few weeks, and really this time next month we'll be deep in snow and seeing the green and the brown and the sagebrush for the last time. And winter is quite arduous around here. It's beautiful, but it takes a little kind of preparing your mind for, just like preparing your body for a race. It's, like I said, it's beautiful, but it's hard, you know, having December, January, February, 3 months of waking up to -0 temperatures, and it is so beautiful, but it's twice as cold this morning as it was last morning, -30. But look at this, just crazy beautiful this morning. It can be long and hard, and I hope to take you along on the journey of our winter here in Jackson Hole. And with that too, I always kind of look back on the season with all my athletes, all the successes, and kind of last few weeks I had one athlete from the UK who really put his best 100-miler race together. We've been training together for 4 years now, and he just had his best race of all time, and I just was really excited for him. And he does a lot of mountain running, a lot of 100-mile mountain races, and this year I changed things up for him a little bit. Race pace was not as easy as it should have been for him, and I think I was having him do too much quality long sessions in the mountains where the travel is slower and it's hard to run moderately hard and steady for long periods of time because of the terrain. And it's just slow, and I think we just did too much of that. We need to do that for strength and developing, you know, race-specific conditioning, but from a physiological standpoint, I think we did too much of that. So what I did this year with him that made a huge difference is that we went to a lot of flat threshold intervals during the week that, again, provided steady efforts. And the distances or the timed intervals varied based on where we are in the program, but he really challenged himself to do a lot of threshold training, and this transferred over to one, allowing race pace to feel much easier because of that steady state and elevating his threshold. So I think it's counterintuitive sometimes when maybe you want to continue to elevate your ability at 100 miles, specifically in a mountain race, and you think maybe doing a lot harder training runs in the mountains, or maybe more specifically continuing to focus so much on your climbing efforts when your effort or your pace is much slower because of the terrain, that can be counterintuitive. A lot of times, if you do too much of it, it's just going to create fatigue at a slow state. So by going to flat terrain to get him better at mountain terrain is the counterintuitive approach here, and elevating your threshold and your leg speed and creating better physiology so you transfer that over into the mountains. So, and it worked great for Jay. Another athlete that I'm reflecting on is an athlete who I've been working with the longest. I actually started working with her in Denver when I lived in Denver, and started coaching back in 99, 2000. And we have worked together ever since. We took a little break there for putting out some kids, but she's been with me the longest. And she was scheduled to do the Tahoe Marathon. She was really pumped to go to Tahoe and do the Tahoe Marathon. And this was her second choice. She really wanted to do Chicago. She loved Chicago Marathon, but with COVID and a lot of the uncertainty around that, she chose to do Tahoe, and she got super excited about doing this race. And lo and behold, all the smoke and wildfires in California unfortunately canceled the Tahoe Marathon. So she didn't know what to do. She was kind of bummed about it, and she just didn't know what the alternative was going to be. And she kind of went back and forth. There was a race up in the mountains of Colorado that she thought, well, maybe since it's local, she can just kind of go do that, and that'll be her marathon. And as we got to race week, she even emailed me and says, I don't know, I just don't feel into this, and I feel like I'm forcing it, and I'm not excited about it. And I said, why don't we do this? Why don't you go do the race, and let's have the goal to work on what you need to for next year, whether it's Tahoe Marathon again next year, Chicago next year. What are some things that you can work on in this race to improve in an effort to help next year? She says, oh, great idea. That gives me something to focus on that's not related to performing at this race. She's just going to go do her best. Well, she went and did her best, and she actually won the race outright. And I was so excited for her. Here, she wasn't even going to go, wasn't really supercharged to do it. We found a reason to do it, and she went and stood on the top of the podium. And I guess it's just a message to, sometimes we don't really realize why we're doing something until after we've done it. And I think Allie is a perfect example of maybe there's just no reason to go do it other than to just go do it and see what happens. And maybe that's what we kind of take into next year. Hey, pick a goal. The best goals, you're going to wonder why you're doing it sometimes. And maybe look to Allie's example of, hey, we don't need to know maybe why we're choosing this, but it's something that we think about. And hey, great things can happen when we put ourselves in those situations. So that's going to be a lot about kind of working through this video through the winter and continuing hopefully to give you guys stuff to think about, maybe in a different way. Maybe there's this training approach that you never thought of. And not because it's different, but because it's forward thinking and maybe a different approach to really, really take big leaps that you've never thought about. And that's really what I want this channel to be about, and what we're going to dive into this winter, as well as take you along Jackson Hole winter. So, all right, I've got my workout. Let's go. So getting back to Allie, maybe what she really learned from this win at her marathon 2 weeks ago, maybe she learned to relax going into a race. And even though there's high expectations and goals with a big race, maybe she can still learn to go into a big race more relaxed and not so worried about performing, meeting their goal. This is crucial. So many times runners' best race are their first one, their first marathon, their first ultra, because there's no expectations and they just kind of relax and go into it and just see how they're gonna do. Okay, that's what she did with this race, and she won. So taking what that felt like, of that being relaxed and trusting their ability, really allows you to relax and to perform. You have to learn to trust your training, and that comes from the training, but a fast runner is a relaxed runner. A relaxed runner is a joyful runner, and a joyful runner is a good runner. This time of year, I also really start getting excited about what I can do over the winter to get stronger, faster, and always finding all those little percentages to get better, right? Okay, and that gets me excited this time of year going into winter, what I can work on, and starting that today. I also started hearing from many athletes who are looking for coaching for next year, and this also really just gets me so excited about their goals, hearing from them, and just what the coaching roster is going to look like for 2022. So if you're into it, hey, contact me. Now's the time before things fill up. So email me and send me your goals, send me what you're thinking, and we'll discuss. But heard from a few athletes this week. One was an athlete from Toronto who attended my run camp several summers ago, and then following the run camp we started working together, and then COVID got in the way and her races got derailed, and she contacted me again and said she's really super psyched to go after the Broken Arrow Sky Race again in California. And so I love the sky racing format, so I'm really excited for her, and she also wants to do rim to rim to rim in the future as her cool and possible goal. So I'm excited about that. And then let's see, heard from two gentlemen, one from back east, New York, who has been DNFing his 100 milers. We're gonna really dive into what's not going right and get him on the right path for his 100 miler next year. And then same goes with another runner, mountain runner in Utah, who again kind of just having trouble putting it all together. And that's really what I enjoy doing, is troubleshooting all the little areas that we can really get better at. And again, like I said earlier, making big leaps and jumps in performance and getting them across the finish line as strong and as fast as they want to. So, and right behind me is home, 42 minutes to the top. What would you say if there's one thing we all can do that'll allow us to be an elite level, that's easy, that's free, we can do anytime, anywhere, any place, there's no rules, and there's so much scientific evidence and proof that it works? Would you do it? Or would you sabotage yourself because it does work and continue to live in a state of, I'm not good enough? So thanks for following along today with my excitement for the future and kind of looking back a little bit, getting ready for winter. But I want to end this video. Many of you may know through reading The Cool Impossible how powerful I believe visualization is. And if we can imagine it, we can make it real. And I want you to really encourage you to start visualizing in your own way what 2022 is going to look like for you. Just sit down, close your eyes, and create a movie. Create exactly what you would love to see happen with no hesitation of whether you think you can or not. Remember as a kid when we used to dream and imagine and make things up? Make 2022 up in your head. What's the coolest things you can think of that you would love to accomplish? And just start seeing yourself do that. Because if we can imagine it, it can become real. And if we train our body for a future race, to prepare, to be conditioned, to cross that finish line, we too can train our mental technology to prepare for the future. And we can do it now. And you can create that desired result that you want in the future now. So see your brain just like a muscle and start training it. Be like a kid. Start imagining, start making things up. Make believe happen.